Okay, everyone. So today I want to talk about building and developing the relationship with our employer or our patient. And I think this is the first process that we all have to deal with. So let's see what that could be all about. So building and developing the relationship with our patient involves several steps. First, creating good communication. Second, coordination of expectations. Thirdly, building trust. 4, creating the caregiving alliance. And 5, taking into account social and cultural components. So let's see what that's all about. Firstly, we want to talk about the fact that people communicate no matter what culture they're from in different ways. And we want to talk about 4 different ways that people communicate. And perhaps that if you can identify them in yourself and in others, it would be easier to understand and to deal with situations. So firstly, what are those 4 ways? Every person has a unique and communication style, a way in which they interact and exchange information with others. There are 4 basic communication styles that we're going to talk about: passive, aggressive, passive-aggressive, and assertive. It's important to understand each communication style and why individuals use them. For example, the assertive communication style has been found to be most effective because it incorporates the best aspects of all other styles. When we break down these 4 styles, we'll better understand the characteristics of each style, standard phrases, and what makes them unique. First, we'll talk about the passive style of communication. Passive communicators often display a lack of eye contact, poor body posture, and an inability to say no. Passive communicators also act in a way that states people never consider my feelings. And passive communicators are also easy to get along with as they follow orders and go with the flow. But, and this is a big but, passive communicators are often very frustrated because they can't be very well understood, and very often they're, misunderstood and frustrated, and because they're not communicating what they're, thinking, feeling, and so on. And very often they can be taken advantage of. If you're shy and you don't look a person in the eye and they communicate a message to you, and you don't respond because you think it might be impolite or it might be, disrespectful. It's an issue that, they may misunderstand you as to comply or to agree if you don't say anything, okay? So it's very important that if you are a passive communicator, if you don't look people in the eye and express yourself in a direct way, in a polite way, but in a direct way, you could be misunderstood. And so also if you're, having to deal with a client or someone in his family that is a passive communicator, it would be difficult to understand what it is that they need or want or how they feel. So this is something that we need to first be able to identify. On the other hand, there is the opposite side of the coin, and that's the aggressive communicator. The aggressive communication style is emphasized by speaking in a loud and demanding voice, maintaining intense eye contact, dominating, controlling others by blaming, intimidating, criticizing, threatening, or attacking them, among other traits. This obviously is not a very pleasant way to communicate, and also not a very pleasant way to deal with someone who communicates in this way. So if you do have someone that is behaving in this way, firstly, I would suggest that you ask family members, social worker in the agency, perhaps friends and so on, how best to deal with the situation. Very often, It's a result of frustration, perhaps some kind of, mental issues, psychological, emotional issues. Very often they can be alleviated with change of medication or, behavioral interaction. So important to know how to deal with this kind of behavior if you do come across, and not to deal with it alone. You can always ask for help. Passive aggressive communicators. Passive aggressive communication style. Users appear passive on the surface, but within he or she may feel powerless or stuck and build up a resentment that leads to seething or acting out in subtle, indirect, or secret ways. Most passive aggressive communicators will mutter to themselves rather than confront a person or an issue. They have difficulty acknowledging their anger, use facial expressions that don't correlate with how they feel, and even deny that there is a problem. This is also a very difficult way to deal with people that express themselves in this way, because they send off double messages. They don't really express how or what they actually feel. And so very important to be able to identify it. And then once you know that this is how your client or patient or someone in your vicinity is communicating, try to see what's beyond the way that they are presenting themselves, okay? And learn the cues to understand what they really do feel and mean. And there is the assertive communicator. Assertive communicators can express their own needs, desires, ideas, and feelings while also considering the needs of others. One of the keys to assertive communication is using the the I statements, such as I feel frustrated when you are late for a meeting, or I don't like having to explain this over and over. It indicates ownership of feelings and behaviors without blaming the other person. Excuse me for 1 minute, please. I have an emergency call I need to deal with. Just 1 minute, please. Okay, so we talked about the assertive communicators. Assertive communicators are obviously the easiest and best way to, to deal with someone, especially if there is a language barrier and also a cultural barrier. We must understand that because we have a language and culture barrier, it's very important that you use all of your observation skills, and a lot of smiling, to try to communicate with your employer and his family, okay? And when we say looking at a person in the eye, I know that in some cultures, this is, considered maybe, again, not being polite, but we do in Israel expect someone to look at us when they're speaking to us and communicate directly. And we say that the eyes are the windows to the heart. So if you smile and look at a person in the eye, I think that should be very, very much the expression that we that we want to see. So let's sum this up a little bit. We talked about passive, passive-aggressive, aggressive, and assertive behavior, and some of the main components that are in each of them. Passive communicators are emotionally dishonest, indirect, inhibited, self-denying, blaming, and apologetic. Passive-aggressive communicators are emotionally dishonest, indirect, self-denying at first, self-enhancing at the expense of others later. Aggressive behavior is usually indicated by appropriately honest, direct, expressive, attacking, blaming, controlling, self-enhancing at the expense of others. And the assertive, the green one that we usually prefer to and are easiest to deal with, is appropriately being honest, direct, self-enhancing, expressive, self-confident, empathetic to emotions of all involved. Tools for effective communication. Understanding how others communicate can be the key to getting your message across to them. In order to develop effective communication style, here are a few tips to keep in mind. Take ownership, use the I statement. We keep repeating that, and it's very important. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Maintain eye contact, okay, very important. Voice your needs and desires confidently, and don't forget to smile. It always makes things easier. How to deal with aggressive behavior or language. Some important tips you may find on this YouTube presentation. At your spare time, you're welcome to look at it. Now I want to talk about nonverbal communication. I think we all know that nonverbal communication is as important, sometimes even more important than, being verbal. We all know that I like to use the example that, we see Anat with her cats roaming around her desk. And we all know that animals, pets that we have at home are, very responsive to us. They doesn't mean they speak our language as such, but they do understand what we want from them and how we expect them to behave, because the tone of our voice, the intonation, our body language, eye contact, maybe there's other things that, that they respond to, perhaps even different smells that they're sensitive to, that our body gives off when we're angry, when we're happy, and so on. But we all know that nonverbal communication is really a very, very important part of the way that we interact with the people around us, and not just with the people, with everything in our surroundings. And so let's think what that means. Along with the 4 communication styles, there is also nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is a way in which people can transfer information between them without the use of words from the spoken or written sign language. Nonverbal communication is expressed in facial expressions, body language, clasped hands indicate closure, a tone of voice, physical gestures, and standing or touching. Maybe you don't, but I'll just tell you that recently I've even read articles about how plants communicate with each other, right? Or that they're sensitive to the way that we behave towards, plants in the house. They know if we like them, if we treat them well, and if we don't. So basically, it's all about heart to heart. And I think that, it's very important for you to learn the body language of your employer. Very, very slowly observe what makes them happy, what makes them comfortable, what makes them feel relaxed, a touch. Some people like to be touched, some people don't like to be touched. Hot water, soap, cooking smells, whatever. All of those things are very, very important tools in making your professional job a much easier one. Tools for effective communication. Active listening, very important. What is active listening all about? It's not just hearing. It's find out what your patient's opinions, thoughts, emotions, and try to not to make assumptions or judgments. Okay, very important. Reflection, in order to make sure you understand what your patient means, try to reflect that you understood what he has said by saying, I understand that, and repeat what he said. Also, I think that it's important that if you want someone to feel that they've been heard, repeat their words, okay? Repeating their words gives them a feeling of affirmation that they have been heard. Empathy, try to empathize with your patient, even if you don't agree with them. And the I message, when you talk about your opinions and thoughts, use the word I, okay? That means that is where you are, what you think, what you hear, what you understand. More tools, patience, okay? Big star next to patience. 2 gold stars next to patience, I think. Be very patient with your patient and, of course, his family. We do want to understand that it's a teamwork, that you're joining a team. Some families, stand in the background and perhaps they have a division of labor between them. One takes care of finances, one takes care of medicine, one takes care of this and that. So you'll know how they do that. But you're part of the team now. This situation is new to them too, and it takes time to get to know each other. Tolerance, big important word. Even if you don't agree with your patient, try to respect his opinion, okay? And nonverbal communication, this is what we're talking about. When talking to a patient or his family, maintain eye contact, try to speak at eye level, relax speech, calm your tone of voice. And I want to talk a little bit about what is eye level. Eye level, we can talk about this on several levels. On the one hand, in a real physical way, our client patients usually would be sitting or laying down, and we want to be at their eye level when we speak to them, when we bathe them, when we feed them, when we do anything. You don't like to talk on top of someone, very uncomfortable. When you're in a restaurant and a waitress comes and talks above your head, it is an uncomfortable feeling. And also, we don't want to talk above people in a figurative way, in the sense that we don't want to give the impression that we know better, that we understand more, that that they're beneath us in the way that on a human level. So it's very important to talk at eye level, okay, to everyone around us. And discussion. I invite you, if you'd like to participate and share with us what your thoughts are about communication styles, about, how to communicate with people that speak a different language, if you've had that kind of experience before. Communication styles, how to handle people with difficult styles of communication or that don't speak at all. What concerns do you have about your communication with your employers? Anyone like to share? Very welcome. Anyone? There's so few of us today. Anyone like to share? Ask a question. Okay, so here is another YouTube presentation on tips to communicating with elderly. I don't know about your experience in the past, if you're, dealing with elderly has been part of your work experience or also family experience, that you have grandparents or great grandparents in your family that you've had the opportunity to live with and to be part of their, their needs or whatever. Yeah, dealing with elderly sometimes can be a different, because in our how should I say it, in our century, sometimes there are big gaps between generations because of the way the modern world has changed so rapidly in the last 50, 60, 70 years. And so sometimes communication can be a little bit more challenging with elderly people. Okay. So let's talk about the second step. The second step is coordination of expectations. This is very important any beginning, right? Beginning of a job or any kind of interaction. When starting a new job and starting a new relationship, each side has expectations, hopes, and concerns. And I'll just say that some of the expectations, when you start a new job, they tell you what your job description is, what the expectations are, but there's always expectations that are not spoken about. And especially in this kind of a job position that you're filling or going to be filling is many things that are not spoken about, because you must understand that this is a different kind of a job position. When you have a job in a hospital or in a nursing home or any place else, you do your job, you go home, then you are who you are. Here, you don't go home. Your home is your job. And so basically, there's no off time, we are all of us know how to be on and how to be off and how we like to feel when we're off and so on. So this is more challenging, and it takes a lot of energy to be able to, to interact and to and I like to think of expectations and discussing expectations as a continuation. Okay, it's not something that you do one day and that's it. It's a continuous process. So try to have an open conversation with your patient and his family about their needs and expectations. It's important that you also express your needs and expectations and try to be honest and open and willing to learn. Okay, this is a very important word, willing to learn, a phrase. You're in a high learning curve about everything, and you'll be probably learning about yourself as well. What's difficult for you, what isn't, what comes, easy, and what makes it very, challenging. So learning is the big deal. Along the way, there may be changes in the patient's or your expectations and needs, and it's okay as long as you speak about them. If you maintain good communication, you can always talk again openly about your patient's expectations and your expectations, and try to coordinate expectations. Okay, I just want to say a few things about that. Sometimes people have really very, how should I say it, impractical and inappropriate expectations of someone who will come to care for them. But this is, only the beginning. And also maybe you as caregivers have, unreasonable expectations or not possible expectations. So, perhaps your employer is lonely and they feel, oh, now they're not going to be lonely. Well, you're not going to be replacing their husband, their wife, their children, that if they're not very active in their communication with this person. There are certain things that you will be and a lot that you won't be. Perhaps they expect that now everything in the house is going to be spotless and clean, the garden, the neighborhood, I don't know what. So maybe this isn't possible either. And also for you, perhaps you have expectations that, that you will have be part of the family, that they would invite you to be, part of their lifestyle, whatever. And maybe they don't expect that from you. Maybe they want you not to eat with them and not to be part of the family, just be a professional that's on the outer circle. So it's all a matter of learning and changing and, being flexible. This is a very, very important word in our in our toolbox, to be flexible and not to see things as black and white. And you'll change your expectations, they'll change their expectations, and it's a process of mediation. And very often you need help in order to mediate that situation. You can consult with family, friends, and of course the social worker. in the agency that you are employed by. You learn to use her services, okay, as a mediating force. Okay. Next step, building trust. Very important step. I want to take a little break before we continue on to this third step for about 5 minutes, everyone, and then we will continue. And if anyone has anything that they want to discuss, talk about, ask questions, you're very welcome. Okay, 5 minutes on that? Okay.
All right, everyone. So we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Okay. So I'm glad you ladies have an opportunity to exchange, ideas and feelings and so on. Everyone is anxious. Beginnings are always difficult. And so that's what we're here for, trying to assist you, think about things that may help you. So let's talk about trust. Okay, we all know that trust is a very important part of any relationship. And if we lose trust, it's very difficult to regain it, right? We don't really have many options in that situation. So what is trust all about? Okay. Reliability, sincerity, integrity, consistency, commitment, and competence. Let's talk a little bit about each one of those. So what is trust? Trust is one's willingness to be vulnerable to another based on the confidence that the other has goodwill, is trustworthy, competent, honest, and openness. It's a shared belief that you can trust someone to achieve a common goal. Well, in this point of your situation, I would think that you need to trust your employer and they need to trust you. It's a mutual situation, right? In many ways, you're not in your comfort zone, and you need them to respect and honor and protect you. And they need the exact same things from you, right? And so also they also feel that they're in a compromised position. Obviously, they need your help and they are at your hand. So being willing to be vulnerable is a mutual situation. And I think that if you are also willing to share from your own feelings, then they will be more open and more willing to do the same. So it's a matter of, kind of a dance, one step forward, two step backwards, another step forward, two steps forward, another step backward, right? Until you build that confidence with each other. At the base of trust, there are many elements. Respect for others, very obvious. You have to respect and you want to be respected in return. No one likes to feel that they're being taken advantage of. Sincerity, very important, okay? You say what you mean and you mean what you say. Integrity, very important, okay? To be honest and direct, okay? Being open is also very important. Sometimes we have difficulty in being open about our feelings, okay? We like to be polite and we need to share, to leave something of ourselves, on the side, which is fine at the beginning. And hopefully once you have a good, trustworthy relationship, you feel more relaxed and are more willing to open up, right? We don't do this on the first minute that we meet someone. And also they wouldn't do the same, obviously. Reliability, very important. Very important that, you rely on your employer and they rely on you, right? They need to know that you're going to be there for them when they need you. And you also need to know that they're going to be reliable on their commitments, paying you on time and so on. All of those things are very important in a mutual relationship. Consistency is very important. You have to understand how important it is especially for elder disabled people. Consistency, routine. Everybody likes to feel their safe place, their safe zone, their comfort zone. And that's part of consistency, and that's routine. So get to know what their routine is, and try to maintain that, because basically that makes them feel more comfortable, more relaxed, and they will trust you more. Okay, if you respect their routine. If they do it too slow, that's fine. If they do it not the way you would do it, that's okay too. Okay, so you have to be tolerant and trust their routine. Commitment. This is the big word. You have made a commitment to care for them, and they have made a commitment, and to honor the parts of your contract. And it is a commitment. And here we're talking about perseverance. If things in the beginning are not what you expected, give it time. Try to see who can help you to make the situation better. Okay. I'm sure that there are many things that you will find, oh, this is not what I expected. This is not what I thought it would be. Okay. Give it time. Give it time. Say that what you don't like, what you do like, but give it time. Okay, and see who can help you adjust things. Sometimes someone in the family, someone, the social worker, someone in CME. It's okay to, to check things out, but don't give up very quickly. More ingredients of trust: willingness to be vulnerable, right? I said that. Being vulnerable is presenting yourself in a real way. You're anxious, you're tired, you're you're kind of scared about what's happening where you are, about, maybe lonely, maybe missing your family and friends and so on. All of that is just fine. If you're a little bit more willing to share that, then they will share with you as well what's going on in their life, in their heart. A sense of security. The trust recipient will meet the expectations. This is very important, right? They need to know that you're there for them. Goodwill. A belief that recipient of the trust will protect the well-being of the trust giver, right? They need to know that you're going to protect them. You're not going to put them in any harm's way. Reliability. We talked about that. A connection between predictability and goodwill. Honesty. Okay, got to be honest. Got to be honest with yourself and with your employer. Make mistakes, that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. This is a really new and different situation. You make a mistake, that's fine. You say, I made a mistake, you're sorry. You learn from your mistakes. And, I always felt that people that don't make mistakes are not honest. Everybody makes mistakes. And that's fine. If you're not making a mistake, you're not working, you're not doing anything. Openness and transparency. Again, okay, things didn't work out, you talk about it, you see how it could be better next time. And reciprocity, treating others as we would like to be treated. This, I think, is the basis for all interaction with anyone, employers, family, friends, everyone, everywhere. We want to treat people the way we want to be treated. How do you build trust and a trust relationship with the patient? Effective tools, okay? Remember that your patient's open his most private space to you, his home. And like you, he has concerns, expectations, and hopes from this relationship. Give trust and trust yourself, trust the patient, and trust the process of getting to know each other. If you trust the others, they will trust you. Always tell the truth. And if something bothers you, don't keep it inside. Try to talk about it. Okay, very important. Try to talk about it. And again, you're going into this person's home. This is his comfort zone, and you're a stranger. And that automatically makes people feel, anxious and not knowing, how to respond to that kind of a thing. Some people will feel comfortable about that. And yes, sit here, sit there. Some people want to see you all day and all night. They got to keep an eye on you, where you are, what you're doing. Maybe they'll even test you in certain little ways, because trust is a process, right? They have to learn to trust you. And some people know, they say, okay, I don't need you. Find someplace to sit where I don't want to see you for the next couple of hours. So all of those things are a matter of, learning to know each other and to respect each other's privacy on the one hand, but also, right, we want to build a trust relationship. So it's a process, and be patient with yourself and with them. Step number 4, creating the caregiving alliance. Okay, and this is what we're talking about when we say it's a process. The caregiving alliance consists of 3 essential components: agreeing on their caregiving tasks, agreeing on the goals of the care, and developing a personal relationship consisting of mutual positive feelings, trust, and good communication. This kind of sums up what I'm talking about. Caregiving alliance, right? Agreeing on the caregiving tasks. Well, sometimes it takes a while to agree on the tasks. And maybe at first it may be overwhelming to you what they expect from you. And so, okay, so in the beginning, maybe a little less. And also, slowly maybe it can go either way. They could expect more from you as time goes by or less from you as time goes by. So it really is a fluctuating situation. And also their needs, your employer's needs will change over time. So obviously your responsibilities will change, in some areas more, in some areas less, right? So you have to keep an open mind and be flexible. And developing the personal relationship, that's the most important part, okay? The most important part. The caregiving alliance is usually determined at the beginning of a relationship between the caregiver and the patient and constitutes the primary infrastructure of the relationship between them. I just want to tell you, we all know that first impressions are very important. So, smile a lot, be nice, charm. You've been there before. Use your charm, right? You want to make a good impression. You have to be nice in the beginning. Always be nice, but especially in the beginning. Such a contract gives stability to the caregiving relationship and a sense of mutual responsibility and partnership, right? Once they know you, they're going to love you. They're not going to, want to give you up, but it is a process, right? So be patient. Step number 5, taking into account social and cultural components. Okay, and this is the big deal here. Part of the caregiving alliance is to take into consideration social and cultural components. You and your patient come from different culture, you have different language, lifestyle, customs, preferences, and beliefs. It's okay that you express your preference and to keep your customs, but it's better to talk about it and with your patient and reach agreement. Try to take into account the culture, values, customs, and traditions of your patient. This includes food preference, daily routine, and habits. Okay, very important, daily routine and habits. I may have said this before, but Israel is a country of immigrants, and most of the people that you'll be relating to are immigrants, or they have been at one point in their life. And so they bring with them all the different customs and languages, from Asia, Europe, Africa, wherever they come from. Sometimes they don't even speak Hebrew, or they speak Hebrew not so well. And they bring with them the different customs of their life and their family. So you must be sensitive to what that is all about, okay? And how to please them is exactly what our work is all about. Today is the second day of Hanukkah. If anyone knows anything about Hanukkah, it's Festival of Light for Jewish people. And we light candles and exchange gifts and eat special foods and a lot of fried foods, donuts and pancakes and all kinds of things like that. And so usually it's like all people's holidays, families get together, friends get together, sing, make a lot of noise. I don't know what your next holiday is, but I know that this month is a holiday for almost all the religions. and most people have something that they're celebrating. Good time to know the family, who the people are involved, who their friends are. I just want to say that, you know, part of building a trust relationship and a relationship altogether is not just with the employer, but with his family as well, his grandchildren, his friends. You know, Corona is coming around again. You probably see the news and are in touch with your family. And I don't know how that's going to take all of us back. You know, we all feel like, oh my, we're almost out of it, but no, we're going right back into it again. So it's making everybody anxious, very introverted, very suspicious. You know, people don't want to go out so much. People are afraid of something that's out there. We don't, you know how to deal with it, the whole world. And so, you know, we're all in this kind of a situation of anxiety and uncertainty together. And I think that it would be very, very much appreciated. And you will find that this will be a good tool for you to make, how should I say it, steps in building a relationship by assisting your employer to be in contact with his friends and family and initiate it. Okay. I would assume that most of your employers are not so savvy in using the computer and using, you know, like the internet. And this would be probably one of your, you know, another tool that you have at your you know, for yourself, and you can try to implement it as well for your employer. Okay, take the initiative. Find out if they have a family WhatsApp group or a Viber group, and give them, you know, give them a report. This was a good week. We did this, that, and the other. We had a few difficult issues here and there, you know, whatever the situation is, but give them the report. Makes them feel that you're, you know, that you're doing your job well, and they will appreciate it, you know. Also with friends and grandchildren, make a list of who they are, what their numbers are, call, you know, grandma's here to say hello. Maybe she's waiting for her grandchildren to call her. People have become very much distant and introverted, and it's not doing good for anyone, especially for disabled people. This is a very bad time for everyone. And so use all of your abilities and tools with what we have, this this internet connection thing, to make their, you know, their psychological and emotional life a little bit easier and more pleasant. Okay. Again, I invite you girls. When we're off, you seem to have a lot to talk about. So share with us what's on your mind, what's in your heart. What do you think about communication, about learning Hebrew, about communicating without Hebrew, just in English? Perhaps your employer knows English or not. Anyone like to say something? Concerns about what's ahead? Share. Bernadette, how are you doing over there? You finished with the closet? You already learned everything that your employer has in her closet. Can't hear you. Turn it on.
Yes, ma'am.
Does she speak English, your employer?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Speak
wonderful.
English. We just probably understand each other always.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. And so she's given you a big job to go into a very intimate part of her life, her closet. And so now you know what she likes, what she doesn't like. That's, you know, that's a very nice thing that she's done. She's giving you trust and knowing about her clothes in, you know, in an intimate place.
So lucky because she's nice also.
Oh, good. Where are you? What city are you in?
In Tel Aviv, Yapo, in Hana Rovina.
Tel Aviv, Yafo. Okay. I didn't understand the second word that you said. The neighborhood.
Hana Rubina. Hana Rubina.
Hana Rubina. Oh, that's a nice place. Very
Yeah.
nice area. Okay, good. Good, good. Sounds like you're in a happy place. Anyone else like to share about where they're at? Hebrew, English? How are they communicating? Nechi, how about you? Are you on with us? Your camera is off, but are you listening to us?
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening, ma'am.
Okay, good. Nice to see you this morning. So
Thank
are you with your employer already?
No, ma'am, not yet. I'm still here at the apartment, ma'am.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
do you know about your employer? Does she speak English?
Based on my contract, ma'am, they speak only Hebrew, ma'am.
Aha, okay. So you're going to need to smile a lot and learn 5 words of Hebrew every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I need to also well, in terms of learning Hebrew, ma'am, I didn't have a problem with that because I think I can study about this language. And because before, mom, I was studying also about Japanese language, so I think this is not so hard for me to learn this Hebrew language.
Okay, good for you that you're taking on the challenge. Okay, that's
Yeah, but I'm
wonderful.
scared. I'm scared but excited.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. Okay. And how about you, Raquel? Are you with your employer yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do they speak English?
Yes, English and Hebrew.
Oh, all right. So you've got the same job, 5 words a day.
I'm clean the house because my patient is going to school.
Oh, she's going to school. What
Yes.
kind of school?
I don't know because my patient is hearing loss and hearing blind.
Ah, okay. Young person?
The family is 5 person.
Okay. And your patient is a young person?
Yes, ma'am, 13 years old.
13. Okay. So that's a different kind of a challenge.
And more on assist.
Okay. Okay. So that's a different kind of a challenge. But okay. Yes. So now you are part of the family. You are, the eyes and ears. And do they all speak English?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Good, good. And what city are you in?
Alon 35 Nordia.
Jolon. Okay.
Alon.
Jolon.
Nordia.
Okay. Nice place to be at. Wonderful.
Natanya. Around the Natanya.
Yes, yes, yes. Good. All good spots. All right. Wonderful. Okay. Anyone else like to ask a question about communication, Hebrew, love, politics, Corona? We all know that there is a new Corona bug out there that the whole world is anxious about. And there may be changes in terms of, what do's and don'ts are. So of course we have to be very attuned to our employer.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I just want to know if Arad Place is safe. Oo naman, bakit ba?
If you are safe, in what way?
No. Yeah, if the Arad Place, because I will be deployed in Arad. So I just want to know if the place is safe.
In Arad?
Yes, Arad.
Oh yes, it's a beautiful place.
Toda.
Very, very nice. Arad is a really nice place. You're going to learn to love the desert.
And I used to it because I've been working in UAE for 6 years, so it
Okay,
was more familiar.
Okay. So if you, yes, okay. The Arad is a city in the middle of the desert. It's an oasis and it's a very special place. Very special place. Not a big place, but it's very nice. Yeah. Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
It's safe. Everywhere in Israel is safe. You have no problems with safety. And, you know, common sense is always good.
Apat pa lang. Apat ako nag-siguro. Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck to you. Good luck.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? Anyone else have anything they want to share or add? Bernadette, you want to say something to us?
Nothing, mom.
Okay.
But I'm just saying I'm lucky, thanks God. So
Yes.
much.
Yes, you're all lucky girls. You're in a good place. Israel's a wonderful country. You're going to enjoy your stay. And yeah, you'll find out. We like to think of Israel as the navel of the world. And you'll know it will be.
Thank you, mom.
Anat, would you like to add something?
I would love to, thank you. So I'm really glad that you participated today as much as you did. And I thank you for joining us today. And now I like to tell you that on our next meeting, we will meet a Filipino caregiver, and she's been here for many years. So you will have the opportunity to ask questions as much as you want. So I welcome you to think about any questions, concerns. She will share her experience with us. So feel free, she's wonderful. And I hope you all be able to join us tomorrow. It will be tomorrow, and of course I will send you the link later on. And like I said, I will send you all the links that were been on the presentation that was shown. I will send it as well.
Have a
Thank
nice
you,
day,
everyone.
girls.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Yes, toda raba.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you,
See you
ma'am.
tomorrow at noon.
you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Bye, ladies.
Nagsalit.
Ikaw na, Day.